Now, it was a little bit of a wait before we got this week's episode of Hanako, but I have to say the wait was well worth it. And before we jump into episode 6 and the review, I do want to make a quick note about why this show has been getting either pushed back later into the day, and just kind of seemingly like the production, I'm sure many are questioning, is it having issues? And it definitely is having issues, but not because of them falling behind in the traditional sense. For those who don't know, there's a lot of anime airing in this season where probably not, going to come as a shock that there's studios in China or Vietnam, things like that help outsource and basically finish an anime episode. And because of the coronavirus, a lot of anime production have been struggling because of this illness, and this production in particular, if you look at the credits, has definitely been hit because of this widespread outbreak. So the main reason why there's been a couple of times with Hanako that we've just kind of been left in the dark thinking, okay, it comes out at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, why is Funimation saying now it's going to come out at 4 p.m. and then we come today and it didn't come out until 7 p.m. This virus, a lot of people like to make memes and things like that about it, but it is a serious thing. And we have to look after, worker safeties more than we need to watch our anime. I'm sure there's going to be those people saying, oh, it doesn't matter, I want to watch my anime, but it is a serious thing. So I did want to make a mention of that because going forward, Funimation is saying the episodes will be coming out at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from now on. But as we saw with this week, the materials and things like that got to them later, so we had a bit of a wait. It's obviously unfortunate. We want to watch our fun adventures with Hanako, or sometimes our dark and twisted adventures. But this virus going around, it's something that's going to affect a lot of production even outside of anime, so we just gotta be patient and things like that. I did want to mention it because I'm sure there's going to be people either asking me about it or potentially even claiming saying Funimation is slacking, but it's like, no, this virus is no joke and it is going to affect our anime from time to time, so we will just have to bear with it. Now, in terms of episode 6 in this whole library, this was probably one of my most anticipated episodes of the anime to date because when you pretty much tell me that you're going to have books that can pretty much just explain everything you need to know about someone's life, and if you flip a red page or you look at a red book, bad things are going to happen. I had my theories and speculations of how twisted and warped it could become, and what we got was so much better than my imagination could possibly predict. Every time that we've pretty much gone up against an apparition or just, one of these rumors of the school, I think it's definitely played into the imagination, the dark and twisted horror parts of our imagination. But to have a teacher voiced by one of my favorite voice actors of all time in anime, just the way he expresses this like almost monotone, but it's so much emotion behind every line. And the fact it's almost like this spider dude who just, he's not a fighter, he's a thinker, he's a book reader. And when he wants something, it's like, he's not going to fight you for it. He may be a bit of a troll, he may be a little bit of a prankster, but if you ask him to give up his basically holy object, his holy weapon, the thing that makes him him, he's gonna do it, but he's gonna be like, hey, tell me a secret first. I love that about this show, where it makes you think you know exactly where it wants to go. You have all of the secrets exposed, you know exactly the formula that it's going to play by. Dark and twisted monster, Hanako stabs the monster, and then Yashiro basically mends the monster's heart. But here we got something that was not predictable, especially seen by when we learn about the identity of the teacher and how he connects to the library. It pretty much sets in motion that the world mechanics are a lot more complex than many of us are probably realizing. The fact that some of the friends that people have in this school might not even be real, and just the idea of rumors being so powerful that things can be so mixed and matched between reality and fiction, ghosts, the living, the undead, it really does give a lot of possibilities to what this cast can look like and feel like going forward in the future. And I really do have to say, I love the backstory, or at least the start of the backstory that we got with Hanako. Because, once we really started getting going, and there was some dialogue playing, and we're realizing that, the most cherished thing in this man's collection, the thing that basically has his seal on it, is apparently a rock from the moon. It's like, okay, we're clearly going to get an important student. And who's the most important student that we've seen up to this point? Sure, there could be a different character we have yet to see, but it just felt like all the cards were pointed towards Hanako, and I was really happy to see just the idea that the only person who's ever changed their future was Hanako. Someone destined to be a science teacher, to be this man's colleague, but then died, then became a ghost, never aging, never changing, being the little brat as he calls him. And that is just so, it's twisted, it's heartbreaking, but it's also optimistic, that apparently the future cannot be changed yet clearly someone changed their future, just maybe not in a positive direction like we probably want to see them. And that gives this series, not only combined with the idea that friends could not even be real, could be part of a rumor and they just look so real, they function so real, that already gives the series so much possibility for the future. But the fact that the way they introduce the idea of changing the future is with someone who ended their life earlier than they should have died, and we still don't even know everything that's happened, it's just like, man, this show has so many roads to go down, both the wholesome and the tragic, and I love that. I mean, the darker a series wants to go, the more I'm gonna eat it up more often than not. Of course, I like my wholesomeness and my adorableness, and of course, we still get that in this episode. I mean, Hanako still continues to be the troll that he is, and just poking fun and manipulating the masses willy-nilly. Like, the dude has no problem being a troll and a prankster, but it also knows how to be so depressingly adorable all wrapped up into one, and it makes the experience of Hanako so damn compelling. I'm really loving that the cast isn't like this one note, like, we're gonna have like 3 main characters, and then the supporting characters are going to just be personalities and never evolving. But the fact that, you know, pretty much everything that we've gone up against in this school so far has actually still been kept in the cast. It's not just like your traditional yokai series where you kill the ghost or, you know, just everything's gonna be okay. Rather, there is gonna be conflict, but there is a way to change that conflict into a more positive direction. And the fact that we're still seeing characters who we thought, I could probably speak for a lot of anime originals, when you basically defeat the monster of the week and they say, oh, it's gonna be a fine character, you see them maybe once or twice, maybe by the end of the show, but we're still seeing characters that, even if it was a couple weeks ago or near the beginning, the fact that what's happened to them and how they've changed and evolved, and they're still being, even if they don't have a lot of lines, but the fact that they're still being relevant in the story and still interacting with these characters, it keeps the school feeling so full of life, rather than it just feeling like there's a couple of mystical aspects and then the new mystical aspect that we see will be gone in an episode's time. No, this series, unless they really have to put out a ghost out of their misery, is going to still continue to feel alive and breathing, and we'll still be able to see characters be implemented in new and fascinating ways, which just gives the series, similar to just how they're exploring the world building, so much potential with its writing and opportunities, which just makes this experience all the more impactful. This show, I think episodes like these really flex just how complex this series can be when it really wants to be, because they casually just introduce a teacher who bends expectations with rumors and reality and say, okay, clearly there's gotta be some characters we've already seen on screen, potentially not even being human. We may never even touch upon that, but it keeps us speculating as if, what is this school really representing? Why can you change the future, but only one character's been able to change the future? Will Yashiro be able to do something similar? Like, what would she want to change besides her clearly fat legs, as it says in the book? Probably going to come a point where there's something really serious, and this moment is going to relate to that and saying, okay, we have to find a solution. This episode definitely had a lot of, like, smaller moments that just really kind of, like, hit home of just how bad some characters' lives had to be. I mean, you can look at Hanako's seal and where it's placed on his cheek. We see in this episode during the little flashback there of how beaten and bruised he got, and there was a bandage on his cheek. It's just those little details that really say a hell of a lot about just how much a character's went through, and even though they are now apparently this rumor who grants a wish if you really want it, is actually still a pretty trapped soul and is, you know, forever a kid basically, never be able to grow up to be that science teacher like he was supposed to, and maybe Yashiro will be able to do something good for him, change his own rumor into something maybe more positive for him, let him grow up, I don't know. There definitely is a lot of possibilities, and that's what I'm loving about this show, is that rather than just keeping it stagnant as if, you know, we're just gonna keep it all cute and adorable or all dark and twisted, they got this nice hybrid, and in doing so, the really interesting atmosphere in this show, it really does pop. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna argue that this has some of the best lighting in the season, where basically you can be looking at something that's supposed to be sick and twisted, or something that's make you feel unnerved, but then you'll just see how the shadows and the light will cast into a room, and it feels so beautiful but also depressing wrapped up into one. They're definitely bringing their A game, and that's why I'm not disappointed that, you know, we have to wait sometimes. Like, sure, I'm a little bummed out, but it's like, as long as we can keep seeing this anime doesn't, you know, completely gets canceled or something like that, I'm more than fine waiting a few days, a few weeks, or whatever for an episode of Hanako, because it just feels like quality, both as an adaptation, taking the existing source material, fleshing it out, adding that lurch flair that definitely is working wonders for this adaptation, but also doing something and interpreting it in their own way to make it feel not just like some direct copy and paste adaptation, but clearly a passion project of sorts, because you don't get a color palette and just creative visions like this unless you truly did like the material in question, be it the director or the animators, things like that. And it's why this series continues to pop every single week, and I look forward to it every single week. It's one of my most anticipated every single time I get up here to review and watch an episode, and it is just such a great experience, and my mind is racing seeing where they want to go, especially with last week's cliffhanger. Like, where do they want to go with that double Hanako and things like that? There's so much possibilities, and the fact that we don't just have to hype up one aspect to the show, but the many possibilities, it makes this such a complex series that I absolutely love. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, be it for source material readers, anime originals like myself. Do let me know. Remember to leave a like if you did enjoy, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.